for today's community comment.
Thank you so much, Jake, and it's good to be back in the Daily Dodge TV studio and community comment. I hope everybody had a very happy and restful holiday season, but it is the first Monday back at it in the new year, and we're very happy to have Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department joining us today. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you, too. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you
even
here.
though it's Monday.
Yeah, and Wade mentioned it on the morning show, but it's like we kind of hit this pause at the end of the year, and for some people it gets on to be 2 weeks
Sure.
or more of a sort of a abbreviated schedule, but now we're in it for the long haul.
That is my understanding.
Probably not till Memorial Day until a lot of people are going to have another long weekend or anything like that.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I luck out. I've got that rotating schedule that'll hit, 3-day weekends every once in a while. But you're right. Yeah, up until spring break, Memorial Day. Yeah, it's a nice little chunk of some work we got to get done here. So
for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Absolutely.
We want to talk about the Citizens Police Academy for a while today. Yeah, this is a great opportunity for people, I think, who would like to learn more about what law enforcement does in Beaver Dam.
Absolutely, yes. So the Citizens Police Academy, we've been doing it for, I believe this is our 22nd time. So our 22nd annual Citizens Police Academy. We started it in 2004. It started out kind of small and kind of a trial sort of thing, and now it's a big deal. It's quite the program we've put together. We get a lot of positive feedback, especially from the people who had taken it. We put through in that time 255 different citizens, local area community members that have come in and learned about what we do at the Beaver Dam Police Department. The whole concept of it, the whole idea is community education. And that is kind of one of our tenets at the Beaver Dam Police Department. It's part of our mission statement to, as far as, community policing, to get people to understand not necessarily what we do, but why we do the things that we do. And what better opportunity than to actually take the time and talk about all the different things that we do, all the different things that law enforcement does in today's society, and then not just talk about what we do, but like I said, why we do it and why it's necessary. Why do we have high risk situations? How do we handle them in the most safe ways? Why do you see officers do the things they do? And not only that, but talk about how things have changed throughout the years. You talk about different trends and thefts, talk about different trends in crime throughout our community. We have learned different ways to resolve different situations through, you talk about just how things have changed. I'm trying to kind of describe, you go back many years ago, and less lethal options for use of force didn't exist. You take a look at a police officer from 1950. He didn't have pepper spray. He did not have a taser. He had a club and he had a firearm and a set of handcuffs. We still have those things today. However, we've learned to use technology to our advantage to keep people safer and resolve issues without, going into those sorts of things. Over the last several years, we talk about de-escalation, and that's a topic that we talk about at length, especially with our defensive tactics section in the Citizens Police Academy. So things have changed, things have evolved, and we talk about that kind of stuff because law enforcement is very close to how things change in society. We're part of that. How we run our society, law enforcement is very involved with that. And that's why the Citizens Police Academy is so important. That's why we do it. We want to educate and let people know and experience what we experience, and be able to take those experiences and talk about them out in the community and learn from themselves. And that's what it's all about. So.
And this is for a wide range of people, not necessarily someone who's looking for a career in law enforcement, although some people might be.
True.
But it can also be for people who are just curious.
Exactly. So it is really designed for, in fact, it's not specifically designed to really teach anyone how to become a police officer, but we talk about those things, and it really is designed for community members. People can participate in as much or as little as they want. There's certain things that we do, like we talked about the taser. That was one of the things that always, we do the taser class. We actually talk about for a couple hours about what, how it works, et cetera, with the opportunity of actually getting tased. You actually get to experience that.
I've seen videos, and oh my goodness.
Yes, and so you don't need to do that. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do it. Well, you don't have to. You have the opportunity to actually do you get to operate a patrol vehicle. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But, I mean, if you want to, you get behind the wheel, turn on the lights and sirens, conduct traffic stops, do a high-risk traffic stop with us. You get to learn that stuff. You can get as involved in it as much or as little as you want. So that's one of the great things about it. So, yeah, you can sit back, relax, and watch everything, or you can get involved and actually do the training with us.
And as you mentioned, interest has just exploded over the years since you first offered this.
Absolutely, yeah. So we had a pretty big dip during COVID, but now I actually have to go through the applications that we get, and we just, hold on a second here. We definitely want your application. Please send your application. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but yeah, we now have to go through and kind of pick and choose who gets them in first, that sort of thing, to get these spots filled. It's not as much as a struggle as it has been in years past. So thank goodness we like that the community is very interested in what we do, and I highly encourage people to apply. And I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit of how you do apply if you're interested. So
you're right. We do have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
We also have to take a quick break right here, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
93.3 WBEV. In the Daily Dodge TV studios, here's Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Police Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson on this edition of Community Comment. We're talking about the Citizens Police Academy. If you would like to join in the conversation, by all means, we invite you to do that. You can call us or text us at 920-887-8585, or you can call us directly at our studio line at 885-4446. So let's talk about what happens when you are accepted into the Citizens Academy. Sure. And what a person can expect.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a packed experience. There's so much that we've added throughout the years. It's literally to the point where we're going to have to pull something out if we want to add something else in. So the things that we do at the Citizens Police Academy, I'll just hit some highlights here. So number one, people love the canines. So you actually get to spend an entire night with the canine team, talk about deployment, interact with the dogs, see all the things that they can do, whether that be tracking, drug detection, apprehension of suspects, that sort of thing. People love the dogs. So that's number one. And that's the number one question we always get. Do we get to see the dogs? Absolutely, 100%. So one full night you get the dogs. So you get to do defensive and arrest tactics. You talk about everything from communication skills, de-escalation, and then using physical intervention options as essentially not the last resort, but certainly after everything else is not worked. That's when you take control. So you talk about all that stuff and everything that we've learned in law enforcement throughout the years with that. Drug investigations, you get to learn about the trends and how things have changed. And we talk about heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, things like that, and how they affect our community. Legalization of THC and things like that, all topics. We get to work with the detectives, talk about constitutional law, search warrants, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, how those things come into play when we do our investigations. You get to spend an entire 2 days with the fire and EMS at the fire department here in town. You get to don all the fire department gear. You get to go with them on a couple of experiences where you get to use the firefighting equipment. You get to go into their training center, put out fires. You get to use the jaws of life to crunch up a car. That's one of the newer experiences that we've been doing, to remove a door and experience what that's like as well. So we do partner with our other law enforcement and fire department community members as well. Speaking of that, we partner with the sheriff's office. You get a tour of the dispatch center. You get a tour of the circuit courts with a circuit court judge. And you also get to go inside the jail and observe how things operate behind the scenes at the Dodge County Jail. What other stuff do we do here? We do an OWI procedures night where we bring in former members of our Citizens Police Academy in a very controlled and safe environment with responsible use, and we make sure that we have people, safe rides home. We give them a ride home, and we give them some alcohol, and then we do the standardized field sobriety tests, and you get to see in person how those standardized field sobriety tests work and how their ability to safely operate a motor vehicle is affected by alcohol. So you get to learn all that in a night. We do interactions with the school resource officers. We get to go up to the Beaver Dam Police Department training range. We get to see the firearms in use, and if you would like, you can actually participate and with a one-on-one certified firearms instructor, operate our firearms if you would like to in like I said, a very controlled and safe setting. Let's see here. We work with our administrative clerks behind the scenes there. We get to see the drone in use. We also get to see our ERT or our SWAT team in action. They come in, they show us all their equipment, they do some room clearing while you're there, and you get to participate in a little scenario with them. You get to talk with our negotiators that are part of our ERT as well. It's fully loaded, it's packed. It is literally 14 weeks of 4-hour classes. And everybody that participates in it, I've heard very, very positive things. And any constructive criticism and feedback we try to put into next year as well. So it continually changes, it continually grows, and it's just a fantastic program. Like I said, all for the purpose of educating our citizens in the city of Beaver Dam on how and why we do the things we do.
So that's 4 hours a week for 14 weeks?
Correct, yeah.
One night a week, I'm guessing?
Correct, yeah. So the plan is we're going to do Thursday nights in March, April, May, and the first week in June is our graduation. We have a banquet at the end there. But yeah, usually 6 to 10. And then there's one weekend day that we do Saturday with the fire department during the morning on a Saturday. So I'm putting that schedule together now, but anticipate it'll be the first Thursday in March and ending in the first Thursday in June. And it's usually 6 to 10 p.m. on Thursday nights.
Now, obviously, this is the Citizens Police Academy, the Civilians Police Academy.
Yes.
So what do people take away from this experience that, after they've done with it?
Sure. So a lot of people that get into it and are interested in it are literally just citizens that have always had questions, thought about it, wanted to know, wanted to learn, and when they kind of saw this program come up, they took the advantage of it and got into it. But afterwards, and what they take away is kind of what we want, that education. We want essentially citizens that kind of know what's going on, understand what that's about. A lot of them have gone on to join our Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association.
Okay. What does that entail?
So it's a lot, actually. Well, I mean, not a lot. It's actually a pretty nice laid-back volunteer organization. But it is essentially, if you are interested in it, once you graduate from the Citizens Police Academy, we send out emails and we meet about once a quarter. It has become now more a little bit of an organized association. So we have a couple of key players that have graduated from the CPA. They organize events where we do either advanced classes. We get them involved in some of the different things throughout the community, such as emergency management. We get them in weather spotting or severe weather like tornado spotter things that we've done. We do a banquet every once in a while, or like a potluck dinner. You get updates what's going on at the Beaver Dam Police Department. But essentially, we're kind of forming a group of citizens that at some point in time, if we ever needed assistance for like a major disaster or something like that, we have a good group of vetted volunteers that we can pull from and say, hey, could you help us out with this out in the community? We need some assistance with this, and they're willing to come in and help us out as good community volunteers. So that's kind of what the association is all about. But yeah, people who have gone through the academy and kind of enjoyed it, so kind of stick around, and they get an update every once in a while. Like, for instance, Project Lifesaver was one thing that we hadn't done for many, many years and was added later. So there's people who took the Citizens Police Academy maybe 10 years ago, and they're coming back, and now they're getting another class in Project Lifesaver as a little update of what else we're doing. Same thing with drones. That just didn't exist in law enforcement, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now it's part of what we do, especially on a regular basis more than ever before. They get that extra class and a little update of what's going on, and get to kind of keep in touch with our group of graduates and alumni.
Do people ever tell you at the end of this that, wow, I had a lot of preconceived notions that have been changed drastically because of this experience?
Yes. That is one of the things that always kind of made me feel like what we were doing was spot on, was important, and that was the goal, and it was actually working. I remember specifically had one lady that was with the last class, and we put her through a scenario, and at the end of that scenario, where she felt what it was like, the tension of how dangerous that could have been, and she kind of felt a little bit of like, oh wow, that was pretty serious, and to put her in the shoes of that police officer in that scenario, for her to come away from it and say, now I understand. Now when you hear about it on the news, or you hear about this, that, and the other thing, I know why you guys take this so seriously. I understand why things go the way they do sometimes, and that's I think very important for people to understand. And when they get into the shoes of a police officer, or even the eyes on the other side of what it would be like if you're on the other end, having a police officer talk to you, understanding why we do the things that we do. And I think she made that connection of, okay, there's more to this than what you, no offense, see on the news, and because news is one of those things where you sit down and you listen to it every day, versus actually going through an experience. And when you have to look more in depth, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have so much more to talk about, but we need to take a break for the news right now. We'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Thank you so much, Jake, and welcome back to Community Comment. We're talking with Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department. And if you would like to join the conversation, people have all kinds of questions. Now's your chance to ask. You can call us or text us at 920-887-8585, or you can call us directly on our studio line at 885-4446. Jeremiah, we've been talking about the Citizens Academy. Before we move on, though, let's remind people, if they're interested, how they can sign up.
Absolutely. So you have to fill out an application. There are many ways to pick one up. You can come down to the Beaver Dam Police Department in person, and in just a few minutes after this radio show is over, there'll be applications at the front desk again where you can just walk in, pick one up, fill it out, hand it right back in. So that's number one. Or you can go to our Facebook page. There'll be a post coming up there in just a little bit on the city website, or you can call, text, or email me. So if you want to call and speak in person, 920-887-4614. Once again, that's 887-4614, and they'll transfer you over to me, and I will get back to you if I'm not in, like if you call right now. Or you can give me a text on my work cell phone number. That's area code 920-210-9378. Once again, that number, 210-9378. Go ahead and give me a text. I'll get an application over to you. You can also email me at jjohnson@bdpd.org. That's JJOHNSON at bdpd.org, as beaverdampolicedepartment.org, if you will. So, yeah,
right.
Any of those spots. And like I said, if you can't print it out, you can do it online and email it to me, or if you don't want to do that and you want to handwrite it, just let me know. We'll help you out. So if you can't get her figured out, if you're kind of an old-fashioned kind of person like I am and you like handwriting stuff, that's fine. We'll take those handwritten applications. So, yeah,
That's
just
right.
let us know.
What a great opportunity.
Absolutely. I forgot to mention one little thing, too.
Yes,
Before we move on.
Go ahead.
One of the biggest things that people enjoy about the Citizens Police Academy is the ride-along. And I can't forget that is one of those things you get the opportunity to do, is you get to ride along with the Beaver Dam Police Department for an 8-hour tour of duty in the city, and you get to see firsthand what's going on. Traffic stops, calls, the whole shebang. You get to come with us and see first person what's going on at the Beaver Dam Police Department. So please apply. If you don't want to do it yourself and you know somebody else who might be interested, some buddies that you talk with, whether that be a family member who's interested in law enforcement or whatever that might be, please encourage them to take or to get an application in. We're looking for people that live, work, or own property in Beaver Dam, but we will take anybody. We just give preference to those other three things. So, Yes, by all means, please don't hesitate. They're due February 15th. Get them in. And even if you aren't sure you want to do it, get your application in and call me, and we'll answer any questions you have. So we'd love to have you.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Well, we just came off the holiday season, which is a busy time for shopping, obviously, but then that also becomes a busy time for retail thefts.
Absolutely.
The holiday shopping season.
So retail thefts have always been a very close thing to me. So but before I was a police officer, I worked in loss prevention for about 16 years, which the primary function there, besides preventing accidents and things like that, were retail theft, both internal and external threats that we had to take a look at, and we'll look at that financial stability. So as a police officer, I'm on the other end with the law enforcement side of it, taking people and holding them accountable essentially for breaking the law at that point. So when I see things change throughout the years, if you asked me 25 years ago where we are today with retail thefts, it would be very surprising. You wouldn't see it coming. So with a shift in technology has kind of opened up a door for some more theft to occur. And now technology is now closing that door and filling that gap, that, kind of addressing some of the issues that have come up. So I find it very interesting, and that's why I wanted to talk about it a little bit here. So
for sure, I guess I would have assumed that technology would make it harder to commit retail theft, but you're saying not necessarily.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where the law of unintended consequences kicked in. Take a look at the self-checkout registers, for example. So a lot of maybe, I don't want to say criminal minded, but people who made some bad choices had taken a look at that situation and taken advantage of it, where you don't have a person necessarily watching every item that you're scanning. So people have taken advantage of that throughout the years, especially since all these self-checkouts have shown up, and now there's more of them, and almost to the point where you go to a self-checkout more than you go to a real person, a real cashier.
Sometimes it's your only option.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm not, like exposing some industry secret here, but there are people out there that will not scan their items and put them directly into the bag. There are people out there that'll try and fool the system by putting the wrong barcode put a cheap barcode on an expensive item and try to get it for a cheaper price. So, as technology kind of opened up that door as far as a customer service and an efficiency and a cost-saving measure for the retailers, they started to realize, oh man, there's a lot of people out here making some bad choices and taking advantage of that kind of that opportunity.
To the point to which I understand some retailers have taken out their self-checkouts because
Correct.
They have lost so much money on them.
Absolutely, yeah. There are a lot of retailers out there kind of realizing that their shrink, which is kind of like their inventory loss, if you will, it is started to skyrocket once they started putting all these self-checkouts in. The classic thefts of, you walk into a store, you conceal an item, you sneak out the front door, like shoplifting, like we've seen throughout the years. That'll never change. It's always still there. Now we're starting to see it where people aren't even concealing items. They're literally just walking up, paying for a couple, and paying for $13 and walking out with $75. And that's what we're seeing on the law enforcement side of things most recently. But now there is technology that is actually addressing that. Okay. So a lot of retailers are utilizing artificial intelligence, AI, that analyzes the video of the self-checkout, and they can tell whether or not the item is scanned and placed into the bag, or if it's completely passed over and never gets paid for. They can also tell if items are still remaining in a cart, if they never get presented, those sorts of things. And the AI actually triggers an alert for the loss prevention crew, and they're able to investigate it and report it to law enforcement, which we have seen in our community now several times. That's what we've been seeing over the last 2 or 3 Christmases of when there's a self-checkout theft, the loss prevention teams are catching it and they're reporting it, and we're able to take that video and show, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, they certainly did not pay for it. And that's when we investigate and figure out why. Was it a mistake? Was it intentional? And if it's intentional, we hold them accountable for it. So,
does the sheer increase in the number of shoppers create opportunities for thieves?
It does, and it always has. Throughout the years, the kind of distraction, if you will. I mean, if you think about it, if you're the shopkeeper and you have 10 people in your shop, it's a lot more difficult than it is if you have one person in your shop to kind of, well, first of all, give them good customer service, and second of all, keep an eye on them. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And pay attention to everything that they're doing. So, yeah, and that's what we see around the holiday season. Ironically, throughout the years, March and October have always been very, very high for retail thefts, not necessarily late November and December. Although incidences do increase, we see that in November, December, just not as much as in March and October. So,
what is it about March and October?
I don't know. To me, it's almost a psychological thing. I don't have an answer to that. I think it's the changing of the seasons a little bit, possibly. Maybe the full moon effect, if you will. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. The studies have shown, like the actual numbers have shown that when there's a full moon out there, that there's nothing different. It's just typical stuff. But I swear to God, as a law enforcement officer, when there's a full moon, stuff happens. And it's not necessarily that day. It's maybe a day before, a day after. That period of time, weird stuff happens. So okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, I don't know if anybody ever had an answer for it, but yeah, statistically, it's March and October.
Okay, well, we learn all kinds of things on Community Comment.
Yes, absolutely.
We need to take one more break, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
You can do more.
Thank you so much, Jake. We're back on Community Comment with Beaver Dam Police Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to join the show. You can call us or text us at 920-887-8585, or you can call us right here on the studio line at 885-4446. Our lives are made so much more convenient these days by, we were talking about technology before.
Yes.
But, online shopping and not only having a delivery driver bring you things to your home, it can be great, but it can also, be an opportunity for some problems.
Absolutely, yeah. And we talked about how things have changed.
Yes.
All through, even the Citizens Police Academy, we were talking about officers from the 1950s, talk about retail thefts 25 years ago, didn't have self-checkouts, Now that convenience of going online shopping, whether that be Amazon, leaving packages at your front door, we've seen the rise of porch pirates, where you've got people that know Amazon is delivering stuff. They follow the trucks and they steal immediately after it's dropped off. So one little tip for people, if I could say one thing you can do is, obviously, if you know that the Amazon package is coming, and you have a good neighbor, or if you know that you can pick that up as soon as possible, do that. The other thing I highly recommend is having a box or another I've got a box at my front door for packages where the box is always there. Yes, someone would have to go up and open the door and take a look inside, and if there's a package in there, I suppose they could take it. However, if that box is out there every day, they don't know. It's not a crime of opportunity. They don't see it. Out of sight, out of mind. So I highly recommend doing that. A lot of the times you can put on your Amazon delivery instructions, come to the back door. So if you have an easily accessible back door, do that, because that way people driving down the street aren't going to see that box sitting outside of your house. And once again, that crime of opportunity is out of sight, out of mind. So I highly recommend doing that.
Excellent. I was thinking too, talking about technology, have doorbell cameras helped?
They have helped. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So there are still a lot of brazen thieves that'll look right up at the camera, take the box anyhow, and drive off thinking that they're not going to get caught. And I don't know, 90% of them, we can figure it out one way or the other. It's something very solvable. So, luckily, and knock on wood, got some wood here, I'll knock on it. It's one of those things that in our community has not been an excessive problem. It still happens. It still pops up from time to time. Usually Amazon is very good at helping out with those sorts of things, especially giving us information, also helping you out as the consumer. But yeah, if you can do certain things like that to keep things out of sight, out of mind, that's huge. That's huge. So, getting back onto the topic, though, we were talking about things that have changed, the convenience.
Yeah.
So the rise of the porch pirates. The other thing, and we were talking about retail theft earlier in the last segment, is now there are companies working with our big retailers to do things like Instacart, DoorDash, and you have employees that are contracted out that aren't necessarily hired by the retailers, coming in and shopping and using those systems to essentially shop for you and deliver your stuff at your house.
Typically grocery shopping, I'm guessing.
Yeah. A lot of groceries. Yep, exactly. But it's not always. So if you take a look at Walmart, for instance, they have their general merchandise as well. So if you want, a bag of carrots and a steak and a gallon of milk, those sorts of things they'll pick up for you. But if you also need some laundry detergent, if you need a toy, you can get it. So there are people coming in that are employees for Instacart and DoorDash and these other online retailers, and they're shopping at Walmart. They have now found, the thieves have kind of found a way to kind of weasel in as well. And we've noticed reports of individuals not working at Walmart. They're working at Walmart, but they don't work for Walmart, and they're involved in internal theft. And they're getting caught by the Walmart loss prevention team as well. So they're coming in and committing retail thefts and claiming that the items that they're leaving with are actually items that were purchased through their app.
So a shoplifter says, "Oh, hey, I'm a DoorDash driver."
Exactly. That's one example of it as well. Yeah, or they'll take more than what was originally on the app. They go to the self-checkout, they scan the barcode, it rings everything up, it gets paid for, but there's more in there than they had on the list that actually got paid for. So they've noticed now that this is popped up. I think a little bit is they get comfortable thinking that they're in there so often that nobody's noticing. Well, they are. That's the thing, is like, heads up, it is happening. They're catching on to it. And unfortunately, people making some bad choices are getting caught now because of it. But I mean, this is all new stuff, new technology that now law enforcement and the retailers are keeping up with, So, and we as consumers in America, we've seen it too with the porch pirates and everything. So things are changing. Crime is changing, and law enforcement is catching up with it. It's kind of a constant battle, if you will.
For sure. Another thing that's a constant battle is scams, and there are a couple of new ones making the rounds right now.
Yes, absolutely. I know the sheriff had hit on there's individuals calling up claiming to be law enforcement officers and then explaining that someone got arrested, needs to be bailed out, and they're asking to send money. Be very, very, very careful with that kind of stuff. Stop and think. I know the sheriff hit on this several times, but I'll hit on it as well. Number one, it's very rare for a law enforcement officer to call up and ask for someone to post bail for them. You also have to be careful of if it's a family member that you haven't heard of in a while, and you don't recognize their voice. That should be another red flag as well, too. I know they have the scam out there where they call up grandma, and it's their grandson who got arrested for something, and they need money to bail out, and grandma doesn't realize that the voice on the other end of the line is not actually their grandson. Be careful of that kind of stuff. So there is a way to verify. You can always look up the number for the Dodge County Sheriff's Office and speak with someone at the jail and confirm that they are actually there. And if you wish to bail them out at that point in time, you can, but never use the phone number that they give you over the phone. You understand what I'm saying? Look that number up. Make sure it's a trusted number from a trusted source, not the person who could potentially be scamming you. So just be aware of this stuff happening. Think for a minute, and always remember, it is not the end of the world to stop for 10 minutes and think and maybe check with someone else. If you're one of those people who just, pick up the phone, call your brother, pick up the phone, call your son or daughter, ask them, hey, do you know anything about this? Because you're not going to be the only person that gets that phone call, right? If someone needs to get bailed out, if they're really in distress and they did something wrong, you're not going to be the only person that they call, right? And maybe the scammer will be sitting there and telling you, oh, whatever you do, don't call so-and-so, don't call my brothers because I don't want them to find out about this because it's really embarrassing. Well, guess what? Just find out before you send thousands of dollars to someone that doesn't deserve it, that doesn't need it. That's the scammer. Don't do it. So that's the other thing too. Go ahead, Terry.
I was saying, for goodness sakes, no law enforcement officer or court official is going to one, ask for anything over the phone, and two, if they were to, they're not going to have you pay by gift card or
Correct.
Have you go to a crypto ATM.
Correct. Yes. By the way, my understanding is the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, and I don't know about other sheriff's offices in Wisconsin, but Dodge County Sheriff's Office takes in-person payments, and then also there is a system. I'm sorry, I can't remember it because I really should tell people what it is. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called.
Is it online somehow?
It's a special. It's an official.
There's an official way to do
payment,
that.
And I'm sorry.
I've paid I paid moving violation tickets that way.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And I'm sorry, I can't think.
Of it off the top of my head.
I'm really sorry. This is probably pretty important for our community to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we too at the Beaver Dam Municipal Court use this system as well. But it's an official system. It's not a gift card. It's not a Apple iTunes card. It is not. Same thing with the IRS scams. Like the IRS takes United States dollars. They take a check. You know, they're not asking to pay via iTunes gift cards or any other gift card type thing. So that's another red flag is what we're trying to say. Make sure you're using the official payment systems if that is something that you need to do. And once again, verify that stuff. Make sure you're absolutely certain that you're speaking with an official person and that you're going through the proper channels. So, and it's very rare that any law enforcement officer, deputy, cop, police officer, DNR warden is going to be calling you up to make that phone call. So heads up on that.
For sure. I'm afraid we're out of time. The hour flew right by. Jeremiah Johnson, thanks so much for coming in and talking with us. Thank you for listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.